In this video, I'm going to talk about why controlling account drawdown is so important. Stay tuned. Hey traders, a very warm welcome to you. Okay, so it sounds pretty obvious, right? We control account drawdown because we don't want to lose more money. And just to confirm, let's just say this is our profit and loss and it's going nicely like this. You know, what we want to control is any drawdown in terms of profits. That's our P&L there, whatever it may be. It doesn't even matter the kind of magnitude of it, but we want to control this because unfortunately our equity curve doesn't go in a straight line. It will draw down. So we need to be able to control this. So why is it so important? Well, obviously we don't lose money, but there are reasons why we go into drawdown. One is our own performance. This is something that we need to be aware of. If you are trading very, very well as a trader and all of a sudden you're trading poorly, you need to have a point where you just pull the plug and reset yourself. What you don't want to do is spend all this time making all this money and then all this time undoing it and be back to square one. Whereas in reality, if you had a trailing drawdown stop, whatever that may be, and you cut the cord here, and then you spent several weeks putting your stuff back together and then got back involved in it, you're going to be way better off. Look at the difference, okay? Assume then that you have that same growth there. Look at the end of the time period where you are. Here, you're at zero. Here, you're at highs. Only because you spent this time, this period here where the damage is being done, taking time out and recognizing that your performance is poor. You're not performing, you're not making money, stop, reassess, come back into it. That is the difference, guys, between being up good at the end of the year and thinking, you know what, it's just another rubbish year for me. I can't do it, I can't succeed at it. This is the sweet spot that you need to be in. Now, where do you pull the plug? That's going to be your personal preference. Do you have, and you're going to have to compare it to your normal drawdown. If your normal drawdown is this kind of thing, and we're saying, I mean, this is a bit unlikely, but what's been your max drawdown to date? What's expected drawdown? Put that in and have it a little bit more than that. Tighten it right up. And also something, guys, if you've got, this is obviously really not the best thing to do in terms of the most efficient, but for psychology this works. If it comes to the end of the year, you've had a really good year, for goodness sake, do not give it back in the last month. Tighten up that drawdown. Say, listen, I've made good money this year. I want to feel good about myself going into next year. You don't want to be drawing down heavily in December and then thinking, oh, I'm starting January from scratch now. Okay, in efficiency terms and probably, pure clinically looking at the model, that's probably an inferior way of doing it. But for psychology, from a psychological perspective, it's a good way of doing it. So, the performance is a big thing, knowing that, hey, I'm not performing well. At some point, you need to just get yourself out of the market, reassess, come back in slowly. And as I just pointed out, this area here is the kill or be killed zone. If you're not performing, this is when things like that happen. You go back to where you were, you undo all that hard work. Whereas in reality, time off, it's the hardest thing to do as well, guys. When you're, in that thing, the hardest thing to do is to take the time off. But actually, it's the best thing that you can do. Because ultimately, even if you don't have this blow up to the upside again, and you kind of stagnate and drift lower, you'll still be much more cautious, and that break that you force yourself to do will do wonders for you. Okay, so the next thing we have is on performance is that the market is changing phase, right? I'm just going to put number 2 here, the market. And what I mean by that is the conditions have changed. Your strategy and setup that you were using is working very, very well. All of a sudden, we go into more volatile conditions. Some little news has come out. We go into less volatile conditions. We switch into range bound. Something happens that changes the dynamic of the market, and you're still plugging away with your genius setup and strategy. And I've talked about this many times before, but I see this constantly, guys. So the transition that you make from one market condition to the next, yes, you are going to get drawdown, because the sort of $64 million question is, is it just drawdown, or has this change, has the market changed conditions? You have to answer that yourself. You have to look at it, look at the patterns of your trading, look at the performance. Is it unusual? Is it within parameters that I've normally had? Always err on the side of caution, guys. Capital protection is the most important thing as a trader. Protect, 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 and then grow. Because if you haven't got capital, you're out of the game. Especially for us as retail traders, we haven't got backing from a hedge fund, we haven't got this, we haven't got that. Even a hedge fund, you've got to protect your capital. But the point is we need to be extra careful about our capital, guys. It's the only tool we have to do the job. So the market changes conditions. So having some kind of drawdown break that comes on when the account draws down, and being mindful of it. And this guy is we use this even if we are not performing very well. This will help you grow at a massive rate compared to just flicking up, flicking down. If you've made good money, even if it was luck, even if you don't know what you're doing, concentrate on protecting that. Concentrate on saying, you know what, I've made some good money here. Let me have this as a reassess level and just try and build from it. Slow things down, try and build again. If you hit that trailing stop loss, come out of the market, reassess, spend the time analyzing your trades, analyzing what you're doing, step back in, rebuild, step back in, slowly, 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 keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. So it's so important. Mentally, it's the most useful thing for you as well, because it allows you to take the time out, relax and stop. And the damage, the mental damage, forget about the capital damage. Obviously, that's pretty bad going from, whatever, right, you're up there down to zero. But the mental damage, the psychological damage of going from being great and the best trader, you feel the best feeling in the world, down to the worst is massive. And that will knock you back years in your progression. So even if you think ultimately I might end up, giving up opportunity to make more money, this is a good way of doing it in the long term. So that's why a controlling account drawdown is so important, guys. Yes, the obvious one of the money, not giving back the money, but the mental aspect of it, the market conditions, you might just be not up to scratch. There's plenty of reasons why we need to be managing that drawdown. And it could just be, it's just a normal process, a normal cycle of us moving from one condition to the next. And what you don't want to do in your career is be doing up and down every time the market changes cycles. You want to lose a little bit because the strategy is not working, but then you want to implement a new strategy and get on the game again. All right, guys, thumbs up if you like the video. Take care. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.